Alcohol and dating. Okay, this is so important, you guys. Today's episode, I'm going to be talking about what you should do when it comes to going on a first date, right? When you're getting to know somebody. Should you drink? Should you not drink? This is so, I learned this the hard way. And I feel like a lot of you may have had experiences like this. But when you're going out, it's interesting. Sometimes alcohol can be like, oh yeah, I can loosen me up and I can share more and I can maybe connect more. The problem with doing that, right, when you're first getting to know somebody, you can basically lose focus and you can lose your intention. I'm all about you going into that first date really intentional, right? And knowing, okay, this is who I am. I want to see if they're aligned with me and I really want to get to know them. And, if you are feeling nervous, right? I do feel like there's, opportunities for you to do things that don't involve alcohol, right? To loosen up, right? But I'm not saying, oh my gosh, you have to be sober, don't drink. I am totally I feel like it's up to you and how alcohol affects you, right? So I always like to do the first date to be a coffee date. And that being said, though, the first date I had with Will, my person, we went to a happy hour, right? And I had Amber Bock beer, I remember. And so but that being said, I remember being okay, let me drink it slow. Let me just really drink that intentionally and not get sloppy drunk. And I don't know what's happening anymore. And next thing you know, I'm at your apartment. Do you see what I mean? I am so all about intention and being really intentional. And alcohol can really start blurring how you're seeing things. And you might be these red flags that always happen, you may miss it if you are intoxicated. If you are getting really buzzed up, you're like, oh my God, he's amazing. Everything's awesome. But if you were totally sober or clear, you may have heard some things that he said that were oh my gosh, that's exactly what my ex, did. Or maybe he mentioned something about, oh my God, my ex-girlfriend was crazy. And you didn't ask questions and probe a little more because you weren't clear. You weren't, you had blurry vision or you just were, buzzed up. And I feel like there's a time and place for everything, right? There's times that Will and I have gotten drunk together. Who cares? That's a blast. But that's after that initial, you're trying to figure this person out. You're trying to see if you're aligned. You're trying to connect on an emotional level, and alcohol is not going to help with that. So yeah, I will tell you this. If you have to, if you're oh my gosh, Jackie, for real though, I really do need a drink. Okay. I would totally be okay, go ahead, have a drink. If you're totally cool with one drink and it doesn't affect you, if you're not a lightweight, perfect, fine. 2, are you a drinker? And 2 is fine, it doesn't affect you, okay. But I would 100% say 2 max, for sure. Now, let's say that you were on this date and it was I always say do the 1 hour and it's bye-bye, right? But let's say you guys were together and talking for hours and hours and the energy was just flowing and it was amazing. I feel like you can just be intentional about it and pace yourself, you know what I mean? And you're not doing shots. You're not drinking hard liquor and you have to just be aware of your tolerance and how alcohol affects you, right? So yes, if alcohol gets you a little loose or it gets you a little bit more comfortable, I'm going to tell you, yeah, okay, go for that one drink, chill out, relax, no problem. But I just don't want you to pound drinks. I don't want you to or even pre-drink. Before I have a date tonight, let me have a drink before I go. Do you see what I'm saying? I really feel I want you to be really intentional. I want you to be really clear. I want you to have your eyes open, pay attention to the red flags, ask questions. And alcohol really doesn't help have those deep, meaningful conversations, if you're drinking too much. Okay. I really hope you are leaning into just being honest with yourself, saying, oh my gosh, have you been drinking too much on dates? And really call yourself out. What is your relationship with alcohol? Have you been drinking too much? Sometimes when you drink, right, it makes you feel like a little bit loose and a little bit, oh my God, so comfortable. But at times you'll do things that you feel that you may, you feel like you owe it to that person to do. Right. Like I know personally, I've been in relationships or on dates in the past where I was like, okay, I feel like they want to kiss me, so I have to kiss them. And when I'm drinking, it pushes me into what my subconscious, oh my God, I have to do this, that feeling, right? This is what I have to do. Versus when I'm clear and sober, and you're very intentional, you're like, I don't have to do shit. Like, I don't have to kiss you. I don't have to, don't put your hand on my leg. Like, what are you, like, you're very like clear, and you're like, you don't forget how worthy you are and what you really are looking for, and that it's bye-bye time. It's not a physical, it's not about leading with the physical, right? And sometimes when you're drinking too much, it could be like, oh my God, this feels good. Okay, one thing led to another, and somehow we're like sleeping together. So I just want you to be intentional. And alcohol sometimes, really, for sure, too much alcohol will mess that up for you. And I don't want you to be on that same pattern of like, oh my God, here we are. Dating is so hard. There's nobody out there for me. I really feel that, you can take some responsibility for how the date is going, and alcohol and saying and being intentional about it can help you navigate that date with so much intention. You're like, okay, 1 hour in that conversation or even less, you can say, yeah, I'm not feeling this. And to have that much intention and that much clarity, you got to be clear-minded. And so it's bye-bye to alcohol time. It's like, you have to see like, okay, be honest with yourself, call yourself out, challenge yourself. Why don't the next date you go on, this will be fun, and leave a comment below. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment below and let me know. Do you drink? How many drinks do you drink on your date? Like, I want to know. And by the way, make sure you subscribe if you haven't. But I want to have a dialogue about this. I want to know, how many drinks do you have on a date? Do you pre-drink? Do you, as you're on the date, by the way, like, does it go longer for like hours and hours, and you see yourself drinking more and more? Do you get physical? Like, whatever you want to share, I want to know. Like, I really love connecting with you, and just like trying to help you out in any way I can, right? But this is definitely something that I have been hearing from a lot of people that I talk to, that drinking is kind of like a safety thing for them. It's kind of like they're like a blankie. Like, it's like, oh my God, I'm nervous, give me a drink, and I totally can connect with that. I really can. And I've done that in the past. So I challenge you, the next date that you go on, okay, my challenge to you is 1 drink. How about that? Like 1. And if you're sober, obviously don't drink. You're like, why are you even listening to this episode? No, but actually, I feel like this is even good for the people that don't drink, because you may go out with someone that does drink, and then you can see, like, are they being intentional? Are they getting sloppy? Like, that's not sexy, by the way. That's something else to keep in mind. Like, getting sloppy and slurring your speech and all that stuff is messy, and it's not attractive. And I feel like that first impression is really important. And I want you to be authentically you, like your freaking amazing self, right? You don't need alcohol to shine your light, but yeah, I challenge you. Next date you go on, can you keep it to 1 drink? Right? And let me know in the comments. You can also send me a DM if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple. You can find me in the DMs on Instagram, the Jackie Lore. I love to talk to you and connect there and help you in any way I can. I'm so excited about you just like trying this out. Okay, humor me. No more than 2 drinks though, for real. Try it out, and you're gonna be like, oh my God, game changer. I realized he was a total asshole like 5 minutes in. Oh my God. You may very well see a lot of red flags a lot sooner, and then your story is gonna start changing. You're gonna be like, oh my God, dating is not that hard. When I'm completely sober, I can see like they're not for me, and you leave space to connect with your person. And they're out there. Like, I believe this to my core. So, yeah, I hope this helps you. get yourself out of your own way. I know I was. So, listen, don't settle for anything less than crazy love. I hope to see you next time. Crazy love is waiting for you. It has to be crazy love or nothing.